Welcome to Glowing Success. My name is Heidi and I am your host. This podcast is for beauty entrepreneurs. Join me weekly as we dive into the beauty industry's ins and outs, from business strategies, top-selling services, and taboo topics. I will be interviewing industry leaders with empowering stories and game-changing insights. Let's illuminate your path to success together. Let's jump into this next episode. Welcome back to Glowing Success. Today I have Andi here and we are going to be talking all about MicroCurrent. So this is buzzing around on the internet. It definitely is in your face wherever you go, I feel like anyway. But this treatment's been around for a long time. So I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to talk to Andi about it because she is, I feel like, a professional, and she's an expert in this story that we're telling today to you.
Yes.
So without further ado, Andi, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me as a guest on your podcast. I'm really excited.
I love it.
I love it. Yeah.
Now, I want to first start off before she goes into introducing herself, because in case the listener doesn't know who you are, I always have, my people that come on to the podcast introduce themselves. But I just want to preface with, I just got a service done, you guys. So I am feeling a little bit ooey and gooey. You know how it is when you just get like your skin done and you get a treatment done, you're kind of feeling like you're in that zone. So I apologize if I don't come up with all the words today because I am feeling that ooey and gooey, but it feels wonderful and it's so amazing. And the treatment you gave me, I mean, it is, I'm going to be buzzing about this for days.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
It. Yeah. You're amazing.
That's great to hear. Good feedback. Good feedback. It is one of my favorites to do. I really enjoy it.
I love that.
Yeah,
now,
really
Andi, for anybody that doesn't know you, anybody that's not familiar with you that's listening, go into a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm many things. I've been in the industry now since 2006. And so in a multiple capacity, kind of multiple roles, mostly in education. So I've worked in education now primarily since 2007. So teaching people how to be an esthetician and all the things that come along with that, and then have since moved more into specialized education in regards to lash extension services. And continuing education for licensed professionals. That's really where my role has taken me in education. So along with that and spa management, and then opening up my own business. So I'm a business owner as well as an educator, and manage a team with a few other colleagues at Minnesota Brow Lash Academy Med Spa in St. Louis Park. So my business is here in Golden Valley. We're at Barefaced Aesthetic Studio. And I established this business in 2019 after teaching my students how to start their own businesses. I decided I'm going to go ahead and do it. I got over my fear and followed the steps that were all laid out for me and all mapped out for me on the state website, and went ahead and just bit the bullet and did it. And I'm so glad I did. So yeah, it's great. It's been really fun. I started doing that in 2019, right before the pandemic. Yeah, managed to stay in business miraculously, and here we are. So business is growing. I've been doing permanent makeup as well, and completing my apprenticeship, and will be adding those services here at the studio. But yeah, I love all of the things, in this world of industry, and see nothing but growth and opportunity for anyone who decides to join our little tribe.
Yeah, I do too. Well, you have a multifaceted career, I think, like many of us, really. Like we all kind of have different things that we've kind of gravitated towards, different things that we've done. And I think it's amazing because it really does give you a little bit different experience, right? But then you can utilize that experience in different ways. And so I love that. Being an educator for so long is really helpful because it has you look at a perspective much differently than when you're just a service provider. And so that's amazing. But having both is oh my gosh.
It's so the best helpful. Of both worlds. Yeah, it really is.
But it can be exhausting probably because you're putting so many hats on. So it's good to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about this before we hit record today.
Yeah, we did.
About, okay, like, how does this look for service providers? And that's probably a whole nother episode, you guys.
It really is.
But you know, like, self-care is ever evolving with service
It really,
providers.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But microcurrent. So that's what we're talking about
Yeah.
today. So microcurrent, if you guys are not familiar, and if you're thinking about adding this into your services, or if you're thinking about getting it done,
Mhm.
I kind of wrote down a slight definition. Now, I didn't take this definition off the dictionary, I took it off the internet. So mind you, this is probably just one reference.
Mhm.
But basically, it's low voltage electricity creating a small electrical field to help increase the permeability of the cell membranes. So when we're saying that, basically, you know, everything happens in the cells, right?
Mhm.
So all of our being happens in the cells. So this is
That's
great
right.
because that electrical current can really pass through and can add a lot of different things. So
Mhm.
the top things that come to mind when I think of microcurrent is muscle stimulation, probably hydration of the skin, because we're
Absolutely.
delivering things a little bit more effectively.
Mhm.
And then also we can really do a lot of things with your collagen. Obviously, we can't do much with elastin. Once elastin has kind of done its thing throughout life,
It really has. Yeah.
you can't necessarily bring it back,
Nope.
but we can strengthen it maybe. And
Mhm.
so going
Definitely.
forward, you can maybe slow that damage down and slow that progression down of
Mhm.
aging.
Absolutely.
So essentially it can help with elastin as well.
Mhm.
But I feel like a lot of people, if they're going to be talking about this to their clients, or if they're going to be, you know, thinking about verbiage to use,
Sure.
my main thing is I'm always the muscle.
Yeah.
Right. We're always talking about how it strengthens the muscle. And so I think that's something I've learned that clients can grab onto. Right.
That's absolutely true.
Now, today's treatment, it gave me a lot of different stimulation. It gave me a
Mhm.
lot of different things that I felt in my body. But
Mhm.
maybe share a little bit about your background of why you added it into your practice.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
then how maybe you interacted with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I tend to work with a clientele that's largely focused on anti-aging and age management. So a lot of the treatments that I do tend to be focused around that. But the thing with microcurrent, as long as there's no medical contraindication, is that it benefits every skin type, and it's not inclusive. So, or exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
It doesn't exclude
It doesn't
anybody.
exclude
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah.
It is an inclusive service. So I can do it on any skin type, on any age demographic, on any condition, and I can also then customize the infusions that I'm doing with the micro gel
Yeah.
that I'm using to help aid in kind of remedying some situations that might be happening in their skin, whether it's pigmentation or acne,
Yeah.
oil production in the skin, or overproduction of oil in the skin, I should say.
Yep.
So there's a lot of different things that I can, target in the treatment. In addition to, reminding those muscles to get back up on that bone structure and stay
Yes.
up where
Yes.
they once were.
And waking them up a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
like waking up that energy. And
But what I'm kind of
reminding it.
hearing from you is like
Mhm.
it pairs really well with skin services.
It really does.
So if you offer facials and you're listening, this
Mhm.
is a great service for almost anybody.
Yeah.
Of course, the buzzword around is anti-aging,
For sure.
but I honestly think anybody would benefit from this service.
I
like,
could literally do microcurrent in every single facial that I do.
yeah. And I
Mhm.
have combination oily, and I tend to have cystic acne.
Mhm.
So when I say that, my acne tends to fester underneath the skin, and I have nodules that don't come out.
Mhm.
So I don't have very pustule acne normally.
Mhm.
Obviously, we all get pustules eventually here and there, but that's not necessarily what I suffer from.
Mhm.
I also suffer from hyperpigmentation, just like everybody else.
Mhm.
I have sun damage. I
Mhm.
have acne pocking. So, as an esthetician, we don't have perfect skin either,
No,
right?
not at all.
And so it's kind of funny because it really, I tend to get very flushed and pink and irritated with certain things. And I
Mhm.
even have good barrier function right now. When I have horrible barrier function, it's even worse. But I didn't have any of that today. I mean,
No.
everything was nice and
Mhm.
calm. It was relaxing. I told her that I felt like I was rocking in a hammock.
Yeah.
I will say, like, the light that kind of goes on in your eyes, that might be a little stimulating if you have like
Absolutely.
epilepsy or something like that.
Right.
But
That's a
there's
contraindication.
contraindications.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was just going to say that. There's
Yeah.
definitely contraindications to microcurrent if
For
you're going to offer it
sure.
in the spa, but they're very small.
Mhm.
Other than like, if you have a pacemaker, if you have epilepsy, there's
Pregnancies,
some,
for sure.
for sure. And like some of those are just normal contraindications for any service.
Mhm.
So, but I will say, like, for me specifically, having reactions or having, inflammation issues in the past from other facials I've done or other treatments I've done. Didn't have any of that today.
Right.
If anything, it felt relaxing. It felt very like I could fall asleep. I kind of drifted off a little bit. I got into like a Zen moment, which I love. And so
I love that too. When clients get there.
Yes. Right. Well, and so I'm, so if you offer facials and you're like, is this something that's too stimulating? I wouldn't worry about that.
Not at all.
It is definitely, something that I feel like could pair well with. And then she did some skin service, obviously, alongside it. So
absolutely,
we didn't just hop right into microcurrent. So
no.
Now, when it comes to microcurrent, there's a lot of things. So obviously we can do it in service, right? So in spa, and it's a great service. But people want to do something at home as well. And one thing I've been doing recently is researching at home machines.
Sure.
So I'm not going to mention the company I'm researching right now, just because I haven't made my full review on them yet. But I will say, like, microcurrent, it is one of those services that we do want your client to progress it at home. So just like skincare, right? And so it is something that, you might benefit from seeing a retail to it. But they could obviously get results if they only came in once a month or however often you would recommend. Now, sometimes people do weekly, right?
Yes, I do have a few clients that come in weekly for services.
Okay.
And then I do have some that come in once a month.
Okay.
And that is their preferred treatment that they like.
Okay.
They see the benefits of the ingredients that I'm using much more effectively with that service. And it's just as relaxing. So don't let the name of current scare you.
I know, right?
Yeah, I think that's, the idea of using electricity in a service is, kind of unnerving for some professionals who weren't taught that in school.
Right.
It's not something that is taught in esthetician school. So you do need your advanced practice license here in Minnesota to do it. That's not the case for everyone. Yeah, check your state. But here in Minnesota, it's an AP service. But yeah, it's a great technology that's been around for a long time.
Yeah. And that's the other thing we were talking about this before we hit record too, was there's all these things that are coming back. So like electrolysis has been around for a really long time, and that was coming back, and like microcurrent is buzzword online right now. And one of the reasons I think that people are paying attention to some of this is sometimes obviously things just trend, right? So we have no clue why something's trend. Some things trend because of large businesses talk about it and a lot of people are following them. Some things trend because of social media. So maybe there's something trended on TikTok. So there's all different reasons why something can trend, you guys. So it doesn't necessarily mean like there's new technology or new things changed about it. It just means like for whatever reason, people are talking. Right. But I will say, like, microcurrent for me, and the reason I got interested in it originally is because I stopped doing Botox about a year ago, and I didn't stop it because I didn't like it or I wasn't having results from it. It just wasn't something I focused on. So I spent my money somewhere else. Right. And I had been doing Botox for about 10 years previous to this. So like I've been doing Botox consistently for 10 years. So now that I hadn't been doing Botox and now it's been over a year, I was looking for something that I was like, well, what can I do to do anti-aging? I'm going to be 40 this year. So like for me, I'm kind of like, your skin changes when you're all of a sudden creeping up to the 40s and when you're in the 40s. Absolutely. And so I was like, I do want to try things. I have my clients ask me tons of questions, right? I'm sure you're the same. Like clients ask you questions all the time about everything they hear about on the internet. So I've been doing my own research for that reason, not only for my client's sake, but for my sake of like, maybe let's look into something a little differently for anti-aging. Absolutely. And I've been very pleasantly surprised. Like it is, it's definitely alongside of other things. Like I'm doing LED therapy. I'm, I eat healthy. I do lots of water. All the things. So I get all the sleep. But I will say, like, this has been an interesting experience because it does offer immediate results. And that's something I didn't realize. Like I thought it was, and obviously you want to do it continuously because you want to strengthen those muscles, just like how you work
maintain
out,
it,
right, and maintain it. But it is something that even right now as we're talking, I feel a little bit more uplifted. I feel a little bit more, like I don't feel like my skin is sagging like it, normally does. So that's kind of interesting because there's definitely services out there that give that instant satisfaction. Absolutely. But this one really did. And that's the one thing I guess I just didn't think of.
Right.
So
it really does kind of check all the boxes. Yeah. So I think that what I did what I saw after the pandemic shutdown,
Yeah.
when we were closed down for several months, is afterwards, a lot of the clients that were coming back or seeking services really saw the value of touch therapy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Because we had to stay away from each other.
because we
Yep.
And so touch therapy and self-care,
Yeah.
after that, period of time where they weren't able to do those things.
Yeah.
So, looking at alternatives to injections,
Yep.
obviously, because that was also something that was not able to be maintained while at home
Yeah.
and staying in place. So, that I did see an uptick in clients that were seeking that service
Yeah.
that did those same things, but also allowed them to feel taken care of at the same time.
Yes. Well, and I do think this is an easy conversation to have with your client if you're trying to upsell. So if your
Absolutely.
client is already coming in for anything, it doesn't matter if they're coming in just for a brow wax, if they're coming in for tinting, if you want to offer the service, obviously make sure you can do it in your state. But I will say, like, this is an easy conversation to start.
Yeah.
Like, it is, everybody wants to feel like they're doing something with anti-aging.
Absolutely.
I mean, even in your 20s, you want to feel like you're doing something preventative, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's where the conversation can open really quite easily. So definitely something to think about if you're thinking about offering this in spa and retail. The conversation can flow quite easily, especially after you've seen that client a couple times, and especially if you've done skin services on them. It's an easy door to open. But one thing I want to talk about, one thing I saw with my current research of at-home retail.
Yes.
So I've been doing research on companies that specifically sell in-home microcurrent machines. And I will say, I don't think there's a huge difference in a professional and at home when it comes to like how easy it is, but there's definitely a difference of how strong, right?
Absolutely.
So that's something to think about, is obviously any at-home service or at-home machine that you buy is always going to have a little foolproof type to it, right? It has to, so they don't get their lawsuits.
Right.
So think about that, and it's same like anything we do, right? Your treatments in spa are definitely going to be different than at home. So just don't take that away from the value of what I'm talking about here.
No.
But the one thing I've noticed is some of the companies are missing the mark when it comes to the conductive gel.
Right. And that's essential.
So when you guys are thinking about microcurrent, your conductive gel, you have to think about it as it pairs. It has to be with it. So you can't just touch the microcurrent to dry skin, essentially, because it's not going to do as much, and it's probably not going to feel good, and you're not going to be able to glide how you should. So the conductive gel really is necessary, but there is some specifics that your conductive gel has to have.
Right.
So in order for electric current to kind of pass through your skin and pass through into those cell membranes, it has to be water-based, number one. And we really want to add some trace minerals.
Absolutely.
And that's important because the travel of that electricity.
Right.
So I will say, like, that's something I did a lot of research on, and that's something that I was thinking that a lot of these companies are missing. So one of the companies I'm trying right now, it's kind of funny, and I don't know if they did this on purpose or not, and I hope they didn't, but they sent me a face oil, so a sample. So, a lot of these companies, when you buy a machine or if you buy something, they always send you samples, right? Which I'm very grateful for. Sometimes you don't know until you try something. But this is a face oil that you're having sampled with a microcurrent machine, which you should not use together.
Nope.
So I was a little disappointed with that, because I was like, well, if I didn't know any better, I would think that this face oil was supposed to be used with this microcurrent.
Naturally.
Right?
Yeah.
So I will say companies need to kind of step up their game on a little bit when it comes to that.
Right.
Education of it.
Yeah.
So, and we kind of went into this, but maybe you give your piece of like conductive gels.
Yeah, absolutely. So really, like, do your research when looking at manufacturers and machines, and make sure that, these machines are for professional use and that they can provide all the tools that you would need to perform the service effectively and safely.
Yeah.
So the background, the training, all the manuals you could hope for, all the protocols, all the MSDS forms, everything should be available to you. If it's not, then maybe move on to a different company and make sure that all those things are in place for you.
Yeah.
So some companies do it better than others. And that's normal.
That is normal.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. But, you really want to choose a company that's manufacturing these machines that's their niche.
Yeah. They know how to work them. Yeah.
They understand. So they're pairing conductive gels, specific for the machine, for the service.
Yeah.
And a lot of these gels are can offer different benefits depending
Right.
on what botanicals and
Right.
added minerals and elements are in them.
Yes.
So it's actually very versatile
Yeah.
and friendly for any skin type.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's the one thing that, it really just needs to be water-based, and it just
Yep.
needs to have some minerals in it.
Absolutely.
And those are the two things that you just need to check off. But
Mhm.
other than that, anything else added is really a benefit to the skin. It's a benefit to the client. The one thing that I love about MicroCurrent and offering it in spa is you can customize the heck out of this, right?
Yeah, it's so fun.
She was saying that before we got started today too, of like, I do a little bit of whatever I feel and whatever the client's skin is telling me. And
Yep.
I really customize it to you. And I was like, wow, that's amazing, because sometimes we don't have that customization in this industry, right? And sometimes we're kind of craving
it. Can get
it.
lost.
Yeah.
It can.
So I feel like that's something that this specific service has.
Yeah.
And you can really customize it one step further, not only with the equipment itself and your machine and how you're doing the actual service, but your conductive gel.
Yeah.
And so
for
I
sure.
think that's really cool. And that's really exciting, because like for me, for instance, I have reaction to hyaluronic acid.
Yeah.
And so when she was doing my intake, we talked about that, and she was like, well, I'm not going to use that.
Right.
And so,
then that's my go-to typically.
Right. I know. And a lot of people
Yeah.
love hyaluronic acid.
know.
I understand. It's a great moisture,
One of my favorite ingredients.
moisture inducing,
It's fantastic. But yeah, like during
not
that
for everybody.
consultation, which is crucial,
Yes.
you've got to make sure that you're asking those investigative questions.
Yes.
Right? Because you could very easily go to the product that you're tried and true.
Yep.
And it's maybe not the best choice for your client.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Or you find out that the client maybe shouldn't get that.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely that digging that, and I feel like I talk about thorough consultations a lot with people, but I feel like that's something that, and even me as a professional coming in, I don't know everything about the service. So I love that, you just stay consistent and true to how your protocols are, no matter who you're bringing in this chair.
Yeah.
And I think that's something to think about. So as we get services from each other, so even though we're professionals and we know a lot about what we do, like it doesn't necessarily mean that person knows everything about what they're about to get done,
Right.
because we specialize, right?
We
So
do.
you specialize in this, but I don't necessarily. I'm just dipping my toes in it. So
Right.
I love that
You're learning it. Yeah.
learning, yes. But this is for sure something that's not going anywhere, right?
No,
so
not at all.
I love that, there's things in this industry that don't go, like I always tell people, peels aren't going anywhere. Chemical peels are never going anywhere. I don't think electrolysis is going anywhere. I don't think microcurrent's going anywhere. So, and there's probably a list that I can go with, but those are the top 3 that I thought about in my brain. But I will say, like, this is a service that's not going anywhere. So if you do invest some money and time into training or a company, know that this is a service that you can rely on.
Yeah.
It's not just a trend. It's not just a fad going through. Like, it is something that's going to give your client results. It is something that's going to make them happy. It is something that is going to hopefully be an assistance of, or maybe your whole service.
It can be.
Yeah.
And I
Easily.
do offer that.
Yeah.
And it most people do like to kind of play around with different things that they're going to add to it.
For sure.
And so,
or dip in with facials maybe first, and then get used to, and then kind of,
Yep.
I can see that, because people want to trust you before you bring some electric.
Put some current on their face. Yeah, for sure.
All right.
So yeah, no, it's a fantastic service. So just make sure, you're getting the education. Take a class. A lot of them offer a lot of information, on their platforms, and obviously no charge. It's free because they want you to see the benefit. Yeah. They're not gatekeeping. They're putting it out there. They want to show you.
They want you to be a happy customer too.
Yeah, they really do. And I honestly, it's a very hands-on treatment. As a provider.
Yes.
I never get bored. It's so fun to really look at the anatomy of the face and think about the facial structures, and thinking about those insertion to origin points, and really like looking at how to improve and pick everything back up again. And then to see it happen. It floors me every time.
So she was saying, actually, when she got done, she was like, wow, your skin really, your muscles really responded, and I could see it. And it was like, oh, and I could feel it. But it wasn't anything that I was like, oh my God. And I wasn't jolted anytime. So like I said, you guys, it's it's a very relaxing service. But yeah, you can definitely feel the twitching, and you can definitely feel, something, which is actually kind of exciting, because as you get older, you don't feel those muscles anymore, or you feel them in the spot that you don't want to feel them.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
that was really nice.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to tell people that are interested in microcurrent? Any tips or tricks that somebody that's like, I feel like I do want to add this, maybe something that you wish you would have known when you picked this up?
I would encourage you strongly, if you have any interest or inkling of an interest, seek the service.
Yeah.
Get it out. Yeah, get it done.
I'm a big, big fan of that. Right. I'm also just a big fan of, and we talked about this before, about self-care.
Yeah.
I'm not the best at doing self-care, but I'm a big believer in, you need to be like a client sometimes.
You do.
And today I know you, so I'm not like, a true client, so to speak, but I will say, like, it is good to feel out things by getting them done. So if you can go to somebody you trust, that's great. But if you can be a new client somewhere else, that's great too.
Absolutely.
But try it out for yourself if you can. And obviously, if you can't, maybe try to have somebody try it that you trust. So your mom, whoever, right? Whoever's around you that you trust, a friend, it doesn't matter. Because I understand there's contraindications out there. So we can't try everything sometimes.
No, we can't. But that was one thing that I wish that I'd had more of, which is exposure.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of research and, trying to find the things that I want to introduce to my clients and myself.
Yeah.
That was one that I just kind of took a leap of faith based on the evidence that, I could find and see how, well established it was as a treatment.
Yeah.
And so I went off of that, but I would encourage you to experience it for yourself.
Yes.
I wish I would have had that opportunity, and not a lot of people offer the service.
I know. And still, so even though it's trending, and even though it's kind of coming back as a different anti-aging, and even though the retail is out there, it's still not everywhere.
No.
And so I will say, like, we can change that, people. We can introduce this to the masses of saying, hey, this is a really great anti-aging treatment. This is a really great treatment if you want to wake up the cells. This is a really good treatment. I even feel like it has a lot of lymphatic qualities, right? So if you have issues with getting rid of toxins,
for sure.
I mean, the list goes on. I mean, if you have a hard time, putting those serums into the skin, or putting that, like you said, those ingredients into the skin deeper. I mean, there's so much to it. There's, I mean, we're just touching the surface really with muscles when I talk about it.
For sure. Yeah.
I feel like, anyway.
Absolutely.
So I do think the more that people talk about it, the more that it's kind of trending online, the more people are going to pick it up. So, but I do agree, like sometimes, and I felt the same with electrolysis. When I did electrolysis years ago, I'm like, man, I just wish more people did this. It's such a great service for all these different reasons. And so I feel, sometimes those services, we have to bolster them a little bit hold them up. So that's why I wanted to do this episode today, because I was like, I want more people to hear about this. I want more people to investigate about this, to see if it's something that they can add to their practice, they can add to their clients, and your clients are going to love this, you guys.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So, okay. So if you're listening and you're interested in microcurrent, her tip is go get it done.
Go get it done.
Go get it done. So research it, go on Google, find an area, find your person in your area or people in your area that offer it, and hopefully you can get it done. Test it out before we, add that education and that time and, price to your service menu. Or if you want to just sell at retail, that's okay too. So Andi, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
I want to have people know where you are. So where can people find you, and specifically with Bareface Aesthetic?
Yeah. So my website is barefacedesthetic.com. So my studio is located here in Golden Valley, just outside of downtown Minneapolis. Really easy to get to. And I'm here.
And you're on Instagram too.
I'm on Instagram, Bareface Aesthetic Studio. Yep. Easy to find. So I, of course, will put everything in the show notes, you guys. So it'll be easy for you guys to click on, easy for you guys to follow her. I highly suggest follow along with her journey, because she offers many things. But as you heard earlier, she is an educator and a business owner. So she's multifaceted. So, but thank you again. Thank you so much.
I hope you liked that episode and found something useful or a tip that you can use immediately. If you are wanting more marketing tips, business tips, or anything like that, I have a lot of resources on my website. So I have PDFs that you can download for free. So look in your show notes. There should be a link in the show notes that you can click on and it'll take you right to my coaching website. And thanks for listening.